Stabilization on. Sorry. G'day and welcome back to the channel, and thank you for joining me. As you can see, I've got a heatsink in my hand, and yes, it belongs to the HDZero Freestyle. And that's what we're doing today. We're going through and waterproofing this bad boy here. Now, as you can see here, I've got a few items laid out. Let's go through them and I'll tell you what you need to get this job done. And I've also cleaned that off. So, first thing you're going to need is a MIPI cable. And do yourself a favor, get the MIPI cable, whoop, tape it up. You don't want to get any conformal coating in any of these or its counterparts, otherwise you're gonna have a bad day. Same deal, the aerial. And here I've got some nice sort of thin fibered rags, cut out of like some bamboo, old bamboo undies, washed. A toothbrush, nice clean toothbrush, like one of those travel pack ones, soft bristle. Isopropyl alcohol, conformal coating, and some thermal paste. I always forget how to say that. Some thermal paste. So, righto, let's get into it. As you can see, I've already cleaned off one side here, and if I release, you'll be able to see a nice clean board. Excuse me. Right, so there's that. Now, let's get on with cleaning the other side off. And I think it's probably a good idea to make sure you're not going to have any issues, at least to stick your MIPI connector in at this point. And I probably would stick the UFL, put that to one side, that to one side, and that to one side, and make this a bit more of a workspace. And the UFL. Oh, fingers. They're finging. Oh my god, I've got my shake going on today. Not helpful that that's like that. And there you go, I've got them, both of them clipped down nicely. So I want to... Now you can take this off. You know, you don't have to put it into a vise to take it off, but and maybe it'd be better off. So I'm just going to put it in here. I don't know. We're just going to go with it because of the way that MIPI connector and the UFL sort of come out there, off to the side. You've got to put it right at the top, and if your lip's too big, it'll be a problem. All right, let's set this up, and we'll get this cleaned. Okay, here we are. Let's pull this off. So, boop. One of the things with taking like heat sinks off your board is you want to like, it's hard to pull it straight off, but you do kind of want to come straight up. So come up, and that'll break the seal, so then it'll be easy to move, and then come straight off. And this long stringy bit, so I'm going to point, that comes off here and here, they will you know, fall straight down, and instead of being like gooped over all over the place. Okay, so now we want to clean this off and clean that off there. So I'll just push this to the side for now. Actually no, we'll put this to the side and we'll get on with this. Now for this I've got a couple of rags. More or less your technique's going to be like come along, wipe it off. Although I actually want to go in the opposite direction in this case and not wipe towards my connectors. So we'll put that round like that and bring it into the shot. And get my isopropyl. I think I might zoom out just a little here. So the isopropyl, and it's got a broken sprayer, so I'm just going to be dropping it on. I do find it's easier to get off when you use a bit of that, and you're just going to have to sort of begin scrubbing. just right in the middle of this board. Don't worry about splashing isopropyl on your electronics. And just keep cleaning until you've got it off. So I'll probably come back in a moment with a cleaner board. Now when you're just getting the final cleanup done, just sort of come along and gently sort of put your nail in there. Don't rub around too hard with a harsh cloth, it'll damage it. Excuse me. All right, so that is clean there. Now let's have a nice close look at this. Okay, I'm just going to turn this light on here. So as I was talking about in my last video on this, these three capacitors are very close to the MIPI connector, so you definitely need to have this covered if you're going to come down in here. One of the things with MIPI connectors is they're kind of susceptible to like capillary action, and same with other connectors too. I missed that one when I was doing the other one, but I knew it was there, but I just missed to mention it. But the stuff can wick up them and get onto the pins, so you do need to be careful of that and have the pins you want in contact by putting the plug in, and that way it'll exclude the conformal coating if you do go wrong with it. Now that the same sort of point applies like over here. You see we've got this, I really can't even see what that is right now. I have to go on the computer, but I think it's a tiny resistor or a capacitor, one of the two. That's really close to this plug here. So I might actually want to get the other plugs and put them in. That's probably a really good idea, and I'm going to do that. And behind this plug, and behind this plug, although this is certainly the worst, and that's pretty bad there. Getting to this side of this boxed area, the shielded area, is also going to be a bit of trouble. You could also, you could try a different technique. I'll just get the product. So this here is circuit board lacquer, and this is circuit board cleaner, which removes circuit board lacquer as well as other things. Put that to one side. It's worth buying both if you're going to get one. It does work, and before I started using conformal coating, I was using this. It does work, it's just more brittle, so not applicable to anything that's flexible. If you have a board that takes like a really hard hit, there's a chance that you could break the seal, but it does work and you could use it. Again, it can be annoying to get this in connections. It's not like Corrosion X, which is probably the best thing to use, but hard to get in Australia. So now we've got this clean here, I want to clean off this bad boy, and then it's a matter of waterproofing. So there is one more point I want to cover before I start with the waterproofing setup, and then start with the waterproofing, and that's that the heatsink obviously is a major factor in keeping this chip and the correspondingly sized chip on the other side cool. Both of those had very good thermal pasting and contact with the heatsink. The other area next to it in the center of this side of the board, probably important to get the heat up to the heatsink because of the central nature of it, but and on the other side again you had the large copper plate and the which we'll see in a bit when we get to waterproofing that side, and the corresponding chip, that they had good coverage too. The shielded areas they don't touch in this area here. Like, there's a gap, but there's no reason why you couldn't put a little bit of thermal paste in that and let that, any heat that builds up in there sort of transfer to the heatsink too. I'm also tempted to try to run a fan on it, and what I think would be super cool if we're going to have heat problems, is maybe an easy way to draw, 6 volts off, or 5 volts, for a small fan, off this board to attach a fan to it. And maybe even cooler than that would be some mechanism, software mechanism that sort of told the fan to turn off, so told the VTX to turn off the fan output maybe when the motors are armed, because it's kind of redundant. But when it's sitting there, having a fan on it might be a really good idea with these kind of boards, producing so much heat, especially if people are running at the higher output levels. Anyway, right, I will get set up for this, and we'll get to waterproofing. Let's do it. So I've plugged everything in. That's the controller, the MIPI, the cable to the quad, the update cable, which is upgraded, and the UFL. And we're ready to start waterproofing. Now I kind of got distracted before, sorry about that. What my point was earlier, that these large chips have a large and effective thermal pasting, and putting conformal coating above that, on that, and then the thermal paste is going to increase the thermal barrier, basically, and what I'm going to do is actually come around the outside of it, so here, and here, and seal, since the top of the chip is sealed, so, and then I can put thermal paste on that and allow a more effective heat transfer out of it. So yeah. Alright, well, let's get into it. Okay, so here we are, we've done this side. Now let's get in and have a look. So I've missed the top of this, missed the top of that, but I've managed to coat these. I might have to do another bit just here on the corners to seal them. Almost had a bit of a problem there, but it's okay. And gotten a good cover on everything else. And you want to sort of come from around it and look at the different sides and make sure it's all cool. So one touch here, one touch on those corners, maybe a little extra, and that'll be that. Now, I can't put this board in the other way with the plugs in. At least, yeah, see? So I'm gonna have to wait for this to dry a bit and come back, and then we'll do the other side. Okay, so before we do the other side, let's check I haven't bunged the plugs. So I'll quickly strip them all off and then we'll have a look. So that's a bit of a design flaw. I've got to get this under here to lever this out. And I can get to it. Because it's, yeah, anyway, whatever. Alright, so let's get in and have a close look. So the MIPI looks clear. No, it's hard to show you inside this plug. It looks clear. And you can see that there's a little, if I can get it to, you see it fluorescing just there. It's hard to see because of the blowout, but there is a little bit right at the back of this plug here. If I have a really close look. Indeed, it's made it partially onto 3 of the pins there, but only at the base. So let me just quickly inspect the plug. I should be alright there, but that could be a problem in the future. And as you saw, that was not from having it on the outside here. That was purely from wicking up the back there. You can see how it slightly fluoresces. Helps if I take it away a bit. And it's wicked up the copper lines there. Anyway, that looks pretty good. And also just want to point out that I've left, as you can see, the top of the chip bare so that I can put some thermal paste on it. Right, let's get on with this side. Now, once again, it's just a matter of going over these parts here with the conformal coating, giving it a nice coat. In fact, I am going to reorientate the board because I want access to this area here. So, one moment. Alright, so that's in position. Let us begin the coating. To watch those random drops. That's sketchy. That was bad form. Being a little bit messy, aren't I? Ugh. Okay, so that's covered up. Let's have a look at the quality of the job. So I missed a little bit over here, and I'm going to go around there and do that one around the perimeter of that chip again. Otherwise, looking pretty good. Now, as you can see, I have missed the giant copper plate and the center of that chip, and yeah, done that quite on purpose, as you'll know already. Oh. Alright, there she is. Now, I've just got to let that dry, and then it's application of the thermal paste. And reassembly. Alright, so it's time to apply the thermal paste. And I'm going to be using this XTM50 from Corsair. It's for CPUs, and it's made out of a, well, based on, is it nickel oxide, which is non-conductive, apparently. I would have thought that, right? Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is putting some goop here and some goop here, and then taking this and bringing it down. Let's get on with it. Is this going to like do the splooshness on me? Nice big splooshy paste. I wonder who's screaming at the camera right now saying, "That's way too much!" or "That's not enough!" It is what it is. And because I don't really want to squish it out this way, I'm going to put it on this side down slightly first. And there we go, she is splooshed. Time to flip it over. Now I do think what I'm going to do is stick my MIPI on again and get splishing. So again here, the core, and on this processor here, I might just twist myself and come from this side. A little dot on here. And a big old sploosh there. Made a nice mess. Miz. So the same deal here. I don't want it to squish off this side. So I'm going to come in. Bring it down. And then drop my screws in. Diagonally opposed to the first one. Not all the way up on them just yet. I mean, you probably could, but and then when you've got them just sort of down a little bit, go back to your first one and just firm it up. They're very small, so be gentle. Whoop. Don't want to do that. And that is now, without testing or anything like that, that is now a waterproofed doobie-whacker, and I have had a little bit of smoosh out the side, and you can see I got some smoosh in here, but I know I've got really good coverage in there, which is nice. Just going to clean that up there. Clean off the smoosh. Not technically schmooze, so yeah, nice. Okay, so there you go. So you probably could use a little tiny bit less of the thermal paste, but it is what it is, right? I mean, you know, it doesn't really matter if a bit of thermal paste goes around if it's non-conductive. That's what's really important, is that conductivity. So there you go. Now I've got to mount this in something and test it out. I've also got to update the firmware and turn it on. I can probably do a bit of turning it on the bench. So alright, so you can see I've got it all set up here, and I've got this running at 7.2 volts, limited to 3.1 amps. This is ready to scan. So turn it on. Just double checking everything. Okay, she's on. Scanning, channel 1, picked up a signal. Yeah, go into it, thanks mate. Alright, there we go, we have a signal. Although there does appear to be a line on this at the moment. I think that's on the camera sensor. Might have to talk to my supplier. Anyway, cool, alright. That appears to be working. Now, the next thing is to do, of course, yeah, like I said, throw it in a craft and take it outside. And, well, I suppose I might as well get on with sticking this in the 6-inch Tyrant. So, yeah. Oh, and just out of interest, 7.21 volts, it's consuming 0.862 amps, and that's like 6.2 watts. Okie dokie. Now there's also an unlocking process and stuff to do with this. I will hunt for some good videos and put them down below because there's already stuff out there about that. Right, so that is a waterproofed and thermally coated Freestyle Vtx. Awesome. Happy. Rock on. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it and found this valuable. Stay tuned for the testing video in this 6-inch Tyrant. It's been raining heaps, so I'm sure it won't be hard to take it out and crash it and test it. But I am going to have to go over the whole quad there. It's been a long time since I built that quad. It's had a number of crashes, and it's probably a good, to go back and have a look at that waterproofing, make sure it's all good. So stay tuned for that, and I will catch you next time. Catch you later. G'day and welcome back to the channel, and thank you for joining me. So as you can see, I've already got something a little naked over here. Actually, I might have to redo that intro. Let's do that again. And naked in the first 30 seconds, probably going to put YouTube algorithm. I'm like, what? All right. Give it a good old clean, get in there in the nooks and crannies. Put it back on there. That's why you have a disposable cloth. Exactly why you use like different cloths. Done.